Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly Pop Culture Wrap-Up. That's right everybody, thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin Robbie Billups. This is the weekly Pop Culture Wrap-Up. It's the show where I go over the week's pop culture news, mostly comic books and movies. Let's get right into it. Tom Taylor, Injustice Year Zero. Not completely officially announced yet, but it has been leaked. Tom Taylor's been teasing this book for a while now. It's another book set in the Injustice universe based on the video game, but Year Zero takes place in the 40s, during the time of the Justice Society of America. So that's really, really cool. This is going to be a digital first book. I believe it actually hits Tuesday of this week, in those tiny little chapters, kind of like the Deceased thing or whatever. Probably a print version to come later on. Remember, the Injustice comics were always digital first, and then they would put them in print, and then collect them in graphic novels. So I'm assuming the same type thing's going to happen here. But it's going to be cool to see the approach to the Injustice world set in the days of the JSA. Very exciting. Tom Taylor is an amazing writer right now, doing big things at Suicide Squad, Deceased. He's got Dark Ages coming out at Marvel. Here's yet something else for Tom Taylor to sink his teeth into. Speaking of DC Comics, there's going to be a death metal one-shot written and drawn by Bryan Hitch. That's right, Bryan Hitch has confirmed, in fact, as well, that he is going to be finishing out Batman's Grave, in addition to doing a 48-page one-shot special set in the death metal series. Right? We don't know anything else about it, aside from Bryan Hitch is doing it. I think Bryan Hitch is a okay writer, a great artist, but I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Right now, I've been eating up everything death metal, so yeah, you give me another 48-page special, that's fine. If it's got a shiny cover, even better. Like 100%. James Tynion IV has started a horror anthology. By surprise, it's already released. It's called Razorblades. It's like an 80-page digital comic book. There was a limited print run of 500 physical copies. That sold out within minutes, I believe. I have heard rumors that there will be a second printing. You can find this at readrazorblades.com. At readrazorblades.com, you can pay what you want for the digital copy. It's got work by James Tynion, but other creators as well, such as Ron V, Marguerite Sauvage, and many, many others. I picked up a copy myself. I flipped through it just a little bit, or clicked through it, I should say, just a little bit, and it looks pretty interesting, but I haven't read anything yet, but I'm hearing really great things about it. This is going to be an ongoing horror anthology with different talent coming in and out on each single issue, and the next issue they have set to be arriving right before Halloween. So Tynion fans, especially if you like his more indie horror work, definitely something to check out. Razorblades, a horror anthology. You can get it at readrazorblades.com. I'll throw a link in the description down below. They released a trailer for Batman Death in the Family. Batman Death in the Family is the monumental milestone Batman story in which Jason Todd was dead. He got killed by the Joker. Now, don't worry, he got a lot better, and now the Red Hood is alive and well in the DC universe. But this is going to be a film adaptation, an animated adaptation of that monumental story. But it seems from the trailer that there are a lot of differences. But what's really interesting is that it's an interactive movie, where it's almost like a choose-your-own-adventure, and you get to decide at certain points whether Jason Todd lives or dies. Kind of like back in the day when they did the original Death in the Family, they had a hotline number that you could call after issue number 3 to vote for whether Robin survives or whether he dies. He died. People voted for him to die. But it was a very slim margin. It's an interesting idea. It kind of speaks to me a little bit of gimmicky, but it's okay because the original series is kind of rooted in gimmicky type stuff, so I think that's kind of neat. But when you watch the trailer, you see all the Red Hood stuff is fine, but then you see him as Hush, and you see him as Red Robin, and I don't know, it seems weird, but we'll see. I mean, I'm definitely going to check it out, and guarantee you the first thing I'm going to be is like, Joker kills him. Movie's over. Cool. That was good. Anyway, it's going to be neat to kind of explore that. Scream 5 has officially gotten Courtney Cox to come back as Gale Weathers. That's right. We have David Arquette now, and now we have Courtney Cox. Can Neve Campbell be too far behind? I don't think so. Scream, to me, is an absolutely fantastic horror franchise. I loved 1, 2, and 4. 3's kind of okay, but I would be excited to see what they could do in a Part 5, especially now if they can get Neve Campbell to return, as well as Courtney Cox and David Arquette. Tenet is being released August 26th internationally. They've decided, Warner Brothers, we're not going to wait on the US to get everything kind of back open and whatnot, so it's going to release internationally starting August 26th. It will release in America on September 3rd at select U.S. cities. Usually that means L.A., New York. In this case, it really doesn't mean that. In fact, I was reading a little bit more in-depth reports about this, and they were saying that most people are anticipating that like about 80% of theaters in the United States will be open and playing Tenet on September 3rd, but not in big, giant cities like LA and New York. So it's a little bit flipped from what we're usually accustomed to, but it is coming out. They were very solid, Christopher Nolan and Warner Brothers, that they wanted this to be released in theaters and not on video on demand, and it's coming, whether we're ready or not, and I am super ready to get back into the movie theater and to watch Tenet, the new Christopher Nolan film. And Kevin Smith has announced that he's working on a Green Hornet animated series. Sounds pretty nifty and cool. He was attached to a Green Hornet movie back in the day. They never did that. Instead, they used that screenplay for a Dynamite comic book that he did. This is going to be set in the modern day, and it's going to be about the son of the original Green Hornet and the daughter of the original Kato, and Kevin Smith, of course, is working on it. We also got a trailer for his new movie called Kilroy Was Here. It's a horror film. If you check out the Kevin Smith podcast that we did, which was the last podcast we released for Pop Culture Philosophers, you can find out at popculturephilosophers.com. I stated that I didn't really think his horror stuff was that strong, so having watched the trailer, it didn't really entice me that much. It's got some goofy looking kills, it's got some gory type stuff, but I just couldn't really pick up anything from that trailer that really enticed me to want to check it out. But, of course, it's a Kevin Smith horror film, and you always, just out of curiosity's sake, got to check that out. So that's what we have for you this week. What do we got coming up here at PCP? Well, Rockin Robbie live tonight at 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time, kicking the week off with a live stream. That's right. Rockin Robbie live, 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time. We'll be talking about comic books, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. Always a grand old time on Sunday nights, chilling with the PCP Army. So we hope to see you there tonight. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Join us over at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts, blogs, written reviews, and a whole lot more. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on living.